I'm contractor NickMystrom. For this big build, we're going to construct a real castle tower, using a lot of the methods they employed in the Middle Ages. Not too many people would even attempt to build a castle tower on a rocky lakefront site like this.
But we've got a master builder, a team of stonemasons, mortar makers, and apprentices to do just that.
The end result? An invincible medieval fortress in a modern world. The main castle, our Castle Chalon, won't be finished for 2 years. But in just 2 weeks, we're going to reveal to Chris the stunning first installment, the first completed structure on the property. Now, Chalon's been our co-conspirator, helping to keep Chris away from the site while the build is in progress. And that is no easy task. It's your land, and you know that there's a lot of construction going on, but he has no idea that this tower is going up and going to be done when he gets here.
No, he has absolutely no idea that any of this is going on.
Right.
Top of the hill, Nick, go!
While the concrete is setting, it's time to bring up sand to put in our circular foundation. Now, I spent years as a pro football player, but this is one of the most back-breaking workouts I've ever had.
Just like 13th century stonemasons, we're actually going to build 2 circular stone walls, one inside the other. Now, in the Middle Ages, they did this for one main reason, to defend themselves against attacks. Today, we're putting rigid foam insulation between our walls to defend ourselves against the elements. I'm contractor NickMystrom. In the next hour, we're going to reconstruct an 1,100-year-old Viking longship. As a contractor, I've built everything from a dream house to an outhouse. And as a former pro football player, I've faced all kinds of adversaries. One thing I've learned from both professions is that putting together the right team is the most important part of any job. That's not going to be easy when it comes to building an 1,100-year-old Viking longship.
Caulking, these days they brag of 25, 30-year life. What's the life of the pine tar?
Well, we know that it's 1,200 years, and we don't know the limit.
There's Kelly right over there, and all morning I've been talking to him, and all he can talk about is how beautiful that longboat is and how one day he'd love to have one just like it. Well, he is totally clueless that in a little while I'm going to give him that Viking longboat. It's going to rock his world forever.
It's time to answer the question that everybody's been asking. Now that we've built this beautiful longboat, what do we do with it? What do we do with this?
Let's go raiding. Let's go raiding.
How many pounds of silver can it hold?
All right. I know I speak for myself that if someone were to give me a boat like this, I would be certainly flattered, but also a bit perplexed. I'm not sure that I would really understand what to do with a boat like this. So our goal was to really find someone who understood the value of this boat. Now, during the weeks and months of this project, it's become obvious to me who that person is. He has demonstrated an unbelievable enthusiasm for our project and an undying love for all things Viking. He even has his own Viking name. Kelly Robinson, Lundy, this is your boat. I'm contractor NickMystrom. In the next hour, believe it or not, we're going to reconstruct a full-blown, completely authentic New England lighthouse. And we've chosen an American handcrafted masterpiece, the Brand Point Lighthouse in Nantucket, Massachusetts. It was first built in 1746.
And when our lighthouse is combat ready, we're gonna give it away.
Holy cow, look at that plan.
To a stunned, unsuspecting, lighthouse-loving family on the shores of Lake Erie.
This is Marblehead Lighthouse in Ohio. It's the oldest operating lighthouse on the Great Lakes. As long as people have braved the deeps, they've relied on beacons like this one to help them find their way through weather like this. While Murph is busy in Nantucket, I'm here on the beautiful southern shores of Lake Erie, where we'll be meeting the folks who will be getting our lighthouse. Murph, you want to come and show me how to use these things?
Certainly.
The bow saw has been around at least since the 14th century, when Viking tool makers needed a way to keep their soft iron blades from bending. By adding tension to both ends with a bow over the top, the blade stayed straight. Maybe because of the Viking connection, bow saws were common with shipwrights in coastal towns like Nantucket, making it likely that they were used on Brand Point.
Oh. Hallelujah.
You say that again. Now, the square is an ancient tool that goes back to the beginning of building itself, but it's still used on every job site today. What we have to do is adjust it to the angles that we do have, which is 5 degrees. Here's the bottom plate. This 5 degrees represents the studs going all the way up to the top of our lighthouse to achieve that 5-degree pitch that we want to see at the end. The next challenge we're going to tackle is the lookout platform. It sits right here on top of the main tower section. That's one of the trickiest parts about these curved walls. We've got to find a material that can handle them. Now, the original builders used lath strips like these and bent them around the studs of our wall. But we've got something better. Luan is a thin, flexible type of plywood that can more than handle our curves. You may have noticed that we're not building on the waterfront, which is fine with me, because it's freezing out here. Now, normally, lighthouses were constructed on site, and the stonemasons and the blacksmiths actually set up their work sites on rocks like these.
And the original tool they used for this is called a froe. So is there any trick? How does it end up tapered?
Well, if you're good with that froe and that hammer, you should be able to take a piece of tapered cedar off of there. There you go.
Ever wonder what the difference is between a shake and a shingle?
My goodness.
A shingle is actually sawn, and a shake is hand split. So the texture of a shake is rougher, like this one that we just hand split.
My guess, it'd probably take me about a week to make enough shakes to cover the entire outside of our lighthouse. So, with the exception of a few special handmade shakes that will slip into the mix, we're gonna use mostly machine-cut shingles. Today's the day. It's the big moment. We've been working for 3 weeks on this gorgeous lighthouse, and the guys were working till way past dark last night, and they were up at the crack of dawn trying to get this thing ready.
So you might be wondering how I can show up with a camera crew to meet John and Jean Hatfield without spilling the beans.
This has been a terrific experience. We've achieved all our goals. Jean and John are smiling from ear to ear, and we've reconstructed a traditional New England lighthouse. Who knows, maybe ours will last 100 years. So if you're ever cruising the southern shores of Lake Erie near Oregon, Ohio, and you spot our lighthouse, you'll know. It's a great American classic that marks the home of a great American family. Hi, I'm contractor NickMystrom. For this week's big build, we're gonna go to work in Chicago's historic South Side. We're gonna recreate a jazz-era speakeasy, a place so secret even the homeowner won't know it's there. This is a conventional wood-framed wall. It's a method that's still used today and was definitely the method used in the 1920s. It has wood plates and studs that are held together with 16-penny nails. But for our basement, Frank and Bruce are installing steel studs. They're more resistant to bugs and water.
This is the area of our bar, and we've been working quite a bit on this, actually thinking about how we're going to get this bar to conceal. We worked on some sketches, got some ideas floating around, but right now we don't have any idea how we're going to do it. There can't be any hint that there's a speakeasy down here when we're raided.
You got 2 weeks to figure that one out.
Thanks for reminding me.
Craig actually brought some bathtub gin for me to taste.
Here's to the end of Prohibition.
Cheers to that. They must have wanted to drink pretty bad to drink that stuff, huh?
How sweet it isn't.
Because of the sound it made when firing, the Tommy gun was nicknamed the Chicago Typewriter.
Oh man, those come out fast, huh?
Yeah, they do. Well,
Not bad. I mean, not great, but not bad. As we get closer to our reveal day, over a dozen craftsmen have already lent their talents to Joe's Speakeasy, and there's still more to come. For instance, Frank's called in a guy who's going to build a piece that'll fit perfectly into the opening in the wall that he's framing. It's something that first appeared in America in 1922, the classic neon sign. A speakeasy is only as good as its secret entrance. So here's what Frank and Bruce came up with. They've built this pantry down here at the entryway. But if you know where the peephole is, and you know what the secret password is,
What's the password?
Joe's Place,
Come on in.
then you can get in. Yeah, my name is NickMystrom, and I'm the host of The Big Build on the History Channel. And this was one of our projects that we do. And when you walked in and saw this, what was your first reaction?
I can't say that word on. Oh, this is utterly amazing.
Wow, what a great couple of weeks. We've had a blast in the city of Chicago. We worked with some great craftsmen. We made some great friends. We even withstood a police raid. So if I can make bail, we'll see you next time on The Big Build.